As we think about our children, one question that I want you to have in the back of your mind is a statement that Paul made of himself. And it was an incredible statement because when I thought about it, I thought I could never do that. Okay? I could never do that. And what he said was, in Philippians chapter 4, he said, the things that you saw and you heard in me, I want you to do. Okay? So the exact quote is in Philippians, but in a nutshell it says, everything that you saw in me, and heard in me, I want you to put into practice. Okay? If we told that to our kids, how would they turn out? Okay? Now just think about that, because whether you like it or not, that is our calling. And that's what you're admonishing your children to do. In other words, whatever Christianity you're practicing, however you're practicing your relationship with the Lord, you want to encourage your children to do the same thing. Okay? So, that really wakes me up. That wakes me up, because if my children turned out to be exactly the same thing as I am, then I would be blamed for a lot of things. And I don't want to be blamed for all those things. So it actually motivates me to grow. It motivates me to pursue the Lord, and it motivates me to practice the kind of relationship that I want to have with my Lord, that would eventually overflow into my children. Okay? Anyway, having said that, having that in the forefront and the back of our minds, let's continue with our homework assignment from last week. And we have our couple right here, and they're going to share with us their answers so that we can get to know them better. They already know each other better because of it, but we want to get to know each other better as a class, and so they're going to share that with us. So why don't you begin? You can do one at a time. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So her best childhood memory was playing with her cousins during summer vacation and winter vacation.
Okay, so there is best memory during your childhood is have the road trip to the Western U.S. in 1986.
Okay, road trip. All right, good.
Worst childhood memory is when her teacher asked her parents to sign her up to get their signature on her exam when she got a really low score.
And the thing that memory about the childhood is moving from Ohio to Maryland, and left behind a lot of friends.
So hope you made up for that.
Yeah.
Made more friends. Okay.
I got a good job in Ohio.
Yeah. Well, make sure that if you can't hear in the back, let us know, okay? So if you can't hear them, let us know, because they won't be able to hear that on the video either, right? So a few more, because I'm going to ask some other people to share too.
Let's see, what is your ultimate date/vacation? I will be spending a year in Europe.
Oh. You're in Europe, wow. That would be an ultimate vacation. Okay.
Yeah, so David's answer is repeat the 1986 road trip.
Oh, wow. You're going to have to do that as a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a family trip.
Fantastic. Okay, good. Couple more.
Okay, let's see. Who is your favorite Bible man or woman? David, brave, reliable, responsible, etc.
Okay. All right. David.
And his answer is David too. So,
Oh, both of Yeah, David. Fantastic.
So he explained it as he is a good example for how a man should act.
Okay.
Doing it.
Okay. Minus the sin, yes. But very real.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Describe yourself in 3 adjectives. You had optimistic, empathy, and harmony, I think.
Okay.
And David is quiet thinking,
Steady.
steady.
Okay, quiet, thinking, and steady. Okay. Wow. All right, I'm gonna have you pause there, and what we're gonna do is select some other people to share some of this because we want to get everybody involved, and especially the ones who don't normally share in our large group setting, because we want you to share with us the life that God has given you. So you are glorifying God with your testimony. Remember, the Lord said to the person who was relieved of the demon, who wanted to follow him. He said, I want to be in full-time ministry with you. And Jesus said, no, just go home and tell your family, of course, and friends, it's included in there, what amazing thing the Lord has done for you. Keeping our mouths shut about God's work in our lives is actually very, very negative, because then you don't give God glory. Okay? So anyway, let's see. First, I'll take volunteers and then I'll appoint you. Okay? So we'll have you share, let's say, 4 things about each other, and then have others share also. So then I have a first volunteer of your answers to these questions. Get used to volunteering. Oh. Especially the brothers. Especially the brothers. Why don't you start?
Yeah, I just got a list, so I'm trying to.
You're trying to select it?
Uh,
Select a few.
This is for my answer, right? Because my wife.
Yeah, your wife is not here, so you have to give the answer. Otherwise, you have to ask the question to your wife and then give it to us. You can do that next week.
So my worst childhood memory. I don't remember which year, but that was when I heard about my dad had a heart attack. Stayed in the hospital.
How old were you?
Still in my
Elementary school, okay.
And my favorite Bible man and woman, favorite Bible man is Paul in the New Testament, and
Yeah.
woman is Ruth.
Ruth? Yeah. Yeah.
Favorite hymn, there's a Chinese hymn, something like that. 天离地有多高? I think it's from some verses from
Psalm 103.
Yeah, 103.
And do you like both the lyrics and the music, or
Yeah,
do
I
you,
like both. Yeah.
do you like
There's
the
some
lyrics
time when
more?
I haven't I was not baptized yet, and there's a long time when in the morning this sound, the hymn or this sound, just show up in my mind every morning. So yeah, I really like the words.
Yeah.
And
One more.
ultimately, vacation, maybe we'll spend 1 or 2 weeks in some island in Southern Pacific.
2 more than 1, right? Because if it's your ultimate vacation, you might as well make it longer. Okay. All right. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Or next, not anybody else. Who would like to volunteer? Otherwise, I will have to choose you. So get used to volunteering. Okay. Put yourself out. Sister this time. Okay. Anybody? Before I point you? Good, good. Is it that heavy? Your arms are that heavy. Can't raise it up. Okay, I will pick, let's see. Now, did you work on this at home, or did you just started filling it out when you got to class? In other words, you didn't sit down with your spouse and ask these questions. All right. Okay. Well, that's your homework if you haven't done it, but if you have done it, great. Would you share?
Well, we unfortunately didn't do it, so I can't share.
Speak for him. You speak for yourself then.
Speak for myself?
Yeah. Speak for yourself.
These are tough questions.
Well, pick the easy ones. Some of them are, yeah.
I'm not sure if this is my best childhood memory, but one of my memories is, because I grew up in California, and I just remember near our house, there's like these yellow roses, and the smell of the juniper and the plants, it is still so strong in my memory.
Oh, yeah.
It's very sunny and
The
just
nose,
a very pleasant feeling.
Yeah.
Just being out there. Maybe an ultimate vacation would be to visit Israel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's on my bucket list.
It's too dangerous to do that now.
Yeah. Bucket list. Take my whole family. You need some help from your husband? Just he can share a couple while you're...
About himself? Or
Yeah.
About
Wait a minute, you don't have any answers to these?
You can do it, sir.
Yeah. What about the favorite man or woman in the Bible? I mean, you were actually supposed to have both.
Oh, actually, I can share question number 2. My wife actually doesn't know it. What was your worst childhood memory?
Uh-huh.
I remember when I was in high school or middle school. One day I did something very bad, and I actually ran away from school, my home, for like one day, and then everyone was looking for me. And in the night, I went back and just said sorry to my parents, so I was kind of readmitted to the house. So that.
And you don't want to tell us what you did?
I think I probably did something bad in the classroom, and
You don't even remember?
the teacher and my parents were trying to discipline me.
Uh-huh. Oh,
But that was
so-
the worst childhood memory because I just ran away from
okay.
everyone for one day.
Right. You remember the running away more than the bad action.
I mean, the running away and spending one day, like in the, so that was in Inner Mongolia. Like, everything was very barren.
Uh-huh.
So I was in the place.
It was scary.
where- yeah, for one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the worst. The other question. what would you like to start doing with your spouse? Maybe play ping pong, because we had this ping pong table set up in the basement for about 3 years. We only played for like twice.
Well, conveniently, I'm gonna assign that as homework. Okay? Your homework is, and the reason why I'm assigning it is sometimes if you don't assign it, you don't do it. Yeah. So my assignment for you for next week is to play at least twice. Okay? Minimum of twice. Okay? And a minimum of 15 minutes. Okay?
All right.
All right. So you're gonna report that, next week. Okay? So 15 minutes minimum, and you have to do it twice. If you do it longer than 15 minutes, like 30 minutes, it doesn't count as two. Okay? Two separate incidents. Okay? All right. Anything else? Okay, for now. All right. So we'll get to more. Anybody else? Before I volunteer you, remember, get used to volunteering, because what we want to do is get you from your seat, not doing anything, to volunteering and sharing, and then getting up next time and actually doing something. Because I think your Christianity is very, very immobile. And the reason why I suspect that is because I can't even get you to volunteer. So we're going to start practicing. Okay? All right. Who else? Remember, just unload the weights from your arm and just lift it. Okay? Who's next? Thank you so much. Look, his arm all of a sudden got light. Okay.
My best childhood memory, I think, is just playing in the. At that time, we lived in a big college. So my parents, my dad is a professor there, and was a professor there at that time. So everybody lived in an apartment in the middle. There's a small hill. So every day after class, we all play there. Until mom is calling and it's time for dinner. So we go back. Then for the worst part was when I was 5-6 years old. At that time, my cousin has a toy revival. Those toy dolls. I think for my birthday, my uncle got one for me. Say okay. Lasts like 3-4 days. So my parents used to fight a lot. So it just broke. Just after 3-4 days.
First of all, we appreciate you sharing that with us. Okay? Absolutely. And here is the reality of our lives. Okay? And you have all of these stories that you're not telling. I mean, I have so much I could just bellow out, and I just want to share with you one, just to set you an example. One of my worst childhood memories was when my mother and I were actually going to our rural relative's house. We used to live there, but we moved into the city, but it was a long way. And for some reason, she had to go, and she decided to take me. And I wanted to go. But from the bus to actually the village, for bus stop that is, was a long way. And so, as we were walking, what happened was a motorcycle rider happened to stop and ask us, "Hey, do you need a ride?" Right? Well, there was no room for 3. So my mother decided that she would send me and walk the rest herself. And so, you know, I thought, okay. So I sat on the back and we rode all the way, and maybe it was 3 or 4 miles, right? And so we got there, but I didn't know anybody, I didn't know where to go, and so it was taking a long time, and I was waiting for Mom, and I didn't want to, you know, wait, so I started walking back toward her. And it was getting late and getting dark, and so I was afraid, and I was constantly waiting and looking for her, and I couldn't see her. And just before it got dark, I saw her way in the distance, and I was just so delighted to see her. I ran, and it was like finding treasure and hugging her, and you know, crying like crazy. I, you know, wanted to you know, be with her the whole time, but I couldn't, and I was just so glad, so overjoyed that I finally got to, you know, be with her. And then we walked in. She said, "You don't have to worry, I was coming," and all that stuff. But that was not the same thing. And one of the joys that I have, and we have, and you have to understand the value of this, is your kids want to know all of that. You should sit around the house, turn off everything, and say, "I want to share with you my life." As Mom and Dad share one story after another, after another, after, good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. This is your life, and they care about you, and they want to know you, not just the, you know, the facade that you put on. Because they know about my smoking, you know, when I was 6, 7 years old. Remember, I snuck in and took 2, 3 puffs and cacked and all that? I told them all about those things. They want to know. You bond with your children. They want to know how you became a Christian, the journey that you took. Glorify God by sharing that with your kids. You get to appreciate each other as husband and wife as you share those things. We have a great gratitude for our brother who shared his heart. If we appreciate that, how much more our children? And you should release all of that emotion, because that emotion helps to heal you, but it also helps you to understand the magnitude of the goodness of God in your life. Because remember, how did the children come to be? You and your wife, you and your spouse, you and your husband. Now that he has set a precedent, may I have 1 or 2 more?
Oh, maybe I haven't finished yet.
Yeah.
Well,
Please.
I think
That's good.
that's were part of my childhood. I always see parents fighting through my childhood. But when I had my child, I think for me, it's a very important thing for them to get up, raise up in a family with a lot of harmony and a lot of peace. Yeah. So when I grow up, I still have a lot of appreciation for my parents, because I know most of them love me.
Right.
Yeah. Really appreciate of that. Okay. That's the sad part. Yeah, for the ultimate vacation, I want to someday when I was a student, my favorite subject was history and geography. So once someday could take my wife, my kids, going back to China and take them to a lot of different places and let them know the history behind that.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Take a tour. How many children do you have?
Two.
Two. Okay. How many have children? This is a parenting class, so I'll let you have who has children on the way. But I would recommend this class for parents who don't have children also, because that is just vital in terms of preparation. What was that? Oh, yeah, sorry. Very good. Couples. I should have said couples, not parents. Man, that's good. I like that. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I would recommend to every couple to have, parenting class, because it's preparation, it's encouragement. Just imagine couples hearing about what we're discussing, sharing about that, even though they don't have children, right? That's so much encouragement. Just hearing about this, because we're being encouraged by one another. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of sharing it, because if you don't, then we get to miss out. Just imagine, all right, so we're not taking this class, everybody's home by themselves, we never get to experience this. Terrible. I mean, we'd be missing out on so much. I'm going to ask Elder Jeff to share some things.
Yeah. So my childhood memory. I'll share with a couple of bad ones because I'm the smallest within my family. I have the two brothers, and oftentimes I have the memory of that they league up and to kind of bully me, and so I don't know what happened, but so one night when we were playing, I don't think that's the league up, but one night we were playing soccer, and so it's getting dark, and I just feel like when we play, and then I just feel like a bullet hit my face or something. So it's because it's dark. I think my brother hit the soccer really hard on my face, and it struck me so hard it dislodged my jaw and broke my teeth. And so that's probably one of my worst. But one of the actually the worst memory I think I would think is my anger problem. So I think my older brother, he often outsmarted me, and I have no word to combat him. I cannot win over him by words. So I remember one day I've become so angry, and there's a chopping knife and in the kitchen, and my parents was not around, and I pick up the chopping knife, and it was very sharp, but just in that split second, I think I stopped from chopping him. But from that memory, I realized that how dark my heart is. So even to this day, I have not actually apologized to him. Probably I should.
Yeah. The mercy of God, right?
Amen.
So you can reflect on that, and from a biblical Christian relationship with Jesus perspective, you can share that with not just us, but especially your children, in terms of how God worked in your life. And it could have been a whole different story if you actually went through with it and hurt him and did something permanent happen. And so we can see that as an opportunity to share with our kids the work of God in our lives, even from childhood. and we have tons of them. Looking at those things from a biblical perspective, from a relationship with Jesus perspective, you'll be able to glean so many things.